Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, man, we got a video from ESPN, the Detroit Pistons offseason guide. So apparently, Bobby Marks here is going to be doing this for every single NBA team. And I thought it'd be a good opportunity, to give you guys my thoughts and opinions individually on the different teams here. Now, if you do want me to continue to react to these guides, leave a like on this video. 1,000 likes, and I'll react to the next one. But yeah, I thought it'd be kind of fun to do as these kind of came out. Just, man, I don't know. It's fun to talk about the teams individually and just kind of like our own playing system. Really, since I'm not doing rebuilds too much anymore these days, good opportunity for me to talk about it, man. So let's go ahead and get going on this Detroit basketball, baby.
Detroit Pistons. We've already put out Orlando, Oklahoma City,
okay,
and Houston. You can find those on ESPN.
Which one should I do next, guys? Let me know.
There was also videos on YouTube for each team, about 5 to 6 minutes, and you can get a complete breakdown that kind of coincides
off-season guide
with each article. The Pistons are interesting, and I've been a big fan of them from what they've been able to do since the All-Star break here. Certainly playing at a high level, and I always say that what you want to see from your young players is not playing out the string, but put themselves in a competitive situation, a winning situation. They're not going to go to the play-in. They're not a playoff team. I think they're closer to the play-in than they are to the bottom of the Eastern Conference standings, and they've only lost one game by 10-plus points since the All-Star break, and that's to the Boston Celtics here.
See, that's the thing. Once we hit up this NBA draft and stuff like that, we get the next piece of the puzzle. Because right now, Cade Cunningham, that's our Darius Garland. Man, same thing as Cleveland. That's our Darius Garland. We now just need our Evan Mobley. We got to go out there and get our beast-ass big dude, man. Have that be Paolo or have that be Jabari Smith. There's so many great big guys out there, man. So, yeah.
You certainly got to like what you've seen from Cade Cunningham.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if he's going to win Rookie of the Year. He's going to be a top 3.
Which is fine. I don't know. It seems like we put too much into the Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna name some other Rookie of the Years, man. Michael Williams. Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon's fine. But nobody's like Malcolm Brogdon's a great player because he won Rookie of the Year. He's just a good player. You know what I'm saying? So, that ball is smashed in Beef Stew's face, bro. That is some smashed up Beef Stew. Okay.
As far as vote getter up there, Sadiq Bey, Jerami Grant before he got hurt. This team was 500. Have hung around that. I know people are saying it's going to hurt their lottery position. I always say don't screw around with the lottery gods. They've got a nice young core that can still continue to build here.
And honestly, I personally do not think there's an overall, you must draft this guy number 1 overall. I would say anybody in the top 5 as far as the draft lottery goes is going to be in a really good position to get a really good player. Now, statistically, 1 or 2 of those players might not end up being that great, but you don't know that going into it. You don't find that out until years later. And, Pistons should realistically just take the best player available, I would say with the exception of small forward. We don't really need a small forward. I feel like that's Sadiq's position. Yes, you can play Sadiq at the 2 or the 4, but I think Sadiq's a 3. And, I'd say when it comes down to it, best player available, have that be like a Jaden or somebody like that. Play in the backcourt with Cade or, like I said, one of the big dudes out there, too. I'll be happy no matter what. Let's take some bitch-ass play I don't know about.
To make as far as when the offseason comes into is, what do you do with Jerami Grant?
You trade him. It's time to trade him. Yeah. I like Jerami Grant. He's a great player. Fantastic contract, 1 year, $20 million. Probably look at a 4-year, $100 million contract after that. You might even say he deserves a little bit more than that, but that's probably what he'll settle around. And, if the Pistons decide to keep him, I will not be angry about it. I just don't think that it helps this team develop to the next level. Unless the only circumstance is that, who they draft just turns out to be a guy that you just want to play at center. Say you want Banchero to strictly be a center, then you run him there, and then you probably keep Jerami Grant around, use Isaiah Stewart off the bench. It's how you want to do with Marvin Bagley even too, though. But, I would say at the very least, I think Jerami Grant is gone by at least the next NBA trade deadline. I see somebody making a play at him, as they, as a team tries to make a playoff push or, try to move up in the contending area.
First one. He is eligible for a 4-year, $112 million extension.
That's it, though?
That in the offseason.
I would honestly,
what happens in
it's
the
not
draft?
a bad contract. It's not a bad contract at all. Wow.
Say the 3rd pick in the draft, and you pick a forward like Jabari Smith from Auburn? Does Grant fit? The other thing
I don't
when
think
you
so.
look at with Detroit and Jerami Grant here is that Troy Weaver, the general manager.
It's so like, because I'm trying to think now. Okay, let's say we get Jabari. You have him at the 4 spot. I don't like to think Jabari can play like center. I think he's more of a 4. Then you guys how to do with Marvin. I think with like Jerami Grant, I think you probably try trading for some sort of like shooting guard. I like Killian Hayes. I think I like Killian more as a 6-man. I ain't gonna lie, man. I would love to get some type of like combo guard. Now it depends what type of move the Pistons are trying to do. I think next season, after we get this current next lottery, is at that point it's like, okay, you got your 2 guys in Caden, whoever we draft. Let's start building more into this. Get some veterans, stuff like that. Guys that positionally work too. I would absolutely love if the Pistons made a run at a guy like a Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon, Buddy Hield, either one of those guys I think would fit perfectly next to Cade. I don't think the asking price from the Pacers would be too much. And yeah, man, just a nice solid like veteran guard.
Said something pretty interesting. Like, you don't want a bunch of 21, like a roster filled of 21 and 22-year-olds. You do need solid veterans.
Guys that can set examples.
To put with Cunningham and Bay and Isaiah Stewart. We'll see if we can get some more out of Killian Hayes, although he's been pretty good on a defensive standpoint.
Thank you.
You're going to get a top 4 or 5 pick. Eventually, you have to start taking.
Killian has been good with everything that doesn't involve scoring the basketball. I'm going to pull him up real quick here, man. Killian Hayes, let's pull him up. This season, yeah, scoring-wise, 7 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds per game. Efficiency, 38% is compared to 35%. I will say that towards the end of the season, it did seem like he was turning up a little bit more. But, yeah, he still got a long way to go. But, I don't know. It's definitely one of those cases. I try not to be one of those people and say, well, if you don't believe this, then you don't watch basketball. It is definitely one of the cases where you have to watch Killian Hayes. And just, once you do, you'll get it a little bit more. There's some work to be done there, but you'll see it. You'll see it. What's his? Duran. You man got 4 names. Killian, Duran, Antron, Hayes. That's pretty cool. Okay.
That next step, and if you trade Grant, and let's say you get 2 first-round picks, Portland, unless they're really good value, and you're going to get an impact player, or you just feel like Grant's not part of the future, it's hard for me to kind of cut bait with him. So I think the interesting thing is to look out for that extension with Grant.
Yeah.
4 years, $112 million.
It's a good contract, man.
Is that a priority for Detroit? Is it something that they're going to play out?
If they signed Jerami Grant to an extension, I don't think he could be traded till the season after, the offseason after, if I got that right. I think that was the same case with Malcolm Brogdon while he's still on the Pacers. But that's still a fantastic contract. He's only 27. I don't hate it. It really strictly comes down to the draft. That's what it comes down to.
Once August, I believe the date is August 9th, goes past, and if Grant is traded, then he won't be extension eligible for that big monster deal because of the 6-month restriction.
Okay.
Jerami Grant's the first thing to keep an eye on. Priority for this team is to put shooters around Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
They are going to have cap flexibility, but they also are going to have some hard decisions to make. Around $23 million in room, but that takes into account letting a player like Marvin Bagley go. He's got a big cap hold. Detroit's technically over the cap. Maybe you can bring Bagley back at a smaller number and use cap space from there, $7, $8 million. Then maybe make a decision on, you've got Hamidou Diallo.
I honestly think when it comes down to Marvin Bagley, I don't think he is going to warrant a huge contract in free agency. There might be a rebuilding team that will toss him a little bit extra money, but I think for the most part, Marvin Bagley health-wise still has a lot to prove. I think as far as the product he put on the court with the Pistons, I thought was very promising. The type of athletic, pick-and-roll player that the Pistons really needed out there. But I also think at the same time, too, that if you get a Jabari Smith or a Paolo Banchero, you're more invested in that player than you are Marvin Bagley. And you kind of make a choice in there. So it really depends on who we draft. If we go out and get Jaden, then yeah, I'm going to say bring back Marvin. But if we get Jabari, I'm going to say that, maybe it's not in the stars to bring Marvin back on the team. So it's all about...
You've got Corey Joseph's got a player option.
Yeah, he can go.
A team option. Frank Jackson is a team option. Luke Garza is a team option. You've got about $10 or $11 million in non-guaranteed / team options.
Please get rid of Kojo.
Create an additional $10 million.
Oh, damn, look at that dunk.
Anywhere from $23 to $33 million could potentially increase based on what direction you go with Grant. So a lot of hard decisions, interesting decisions. We can start with, certainly with the draft, having another top 3 or 4 pick, adding on to this roster that is, they're almost kind of where Cleveland was last year. Even
there we
where
go.
Minnesota
There we go.
was. Minnesota won 16-25 the last 41 games after they hired Chris Finch. I almost see them, they're molding some type of identity. And if I was a team, we only have a little bit of a season left, I would want nothing to do with the Detroit Pistons here. So you've got to put shooters around Cade.
Yep.
You've got to figure out what you want to do with Jerami Grant. You've got cap flexibility or not, based on what you do with Marvin Bagley and your $10 or $11 million in
I mean, the flexibility to some extent, I guess, matters. But at the same time, free agents ain't really coming to Detroit. And, I think, once we do add on via the NBA draft and stuff like that, I don't think the minutes are going to be easy to come by for other players. I really actually do enjoy the Pistons rotation quite a bit. He hasn't even really talked about Isaiah Livers. I think Isaiah Livers at the very least is a solid role player in the NBA. So and there's your shooter right there too. So
in team options, it's going to be an interesting offseason in Detroit. They are close, but I don't think they are a $20 million player away from taking that next step. You just got to keep.
No, they're a really good draft selection away from it.
Of course, as you saw,
they're an Evan Mobley away.
Getting Bay in the draft, Isaiah Stewart. I'm still not ready to sell on Killian Hayes here. I think he's got a role.
Definitely.
Hey, I understand where he was drafted. There's going to be a bigger microscope on here, but Detroit's building something here. I've liked what they've been able to do. The hard part now is, how do you crack that top 10 when you have the back 4 are Atlanta, Brooklyn, Charlotte, and Cleveland? How do you kind of get into that level?
Well, we got Troy Weaver.
Starts with the draft. Jerami Grant, cap flexibility, a lot of different resources to build out this roster.
Yep, put yourself in a competitive situation going into next season. Next season expectations for me, I want to make the play-in tournament. I want the Pistons to make the play-in tournament. If they do that, I will be ecstatic, even if we lose the play-in tournament. But it's all about the little stepping stones. But that's all we got for this video. Like I said, man, if you want me to do this for the other teams, leave a like on this video, man. 1,000 likes, we'll do the next one. Thank you all so much for watching. Peace out, my friends.